What's up, guys? How's the hanging, Chromagtites? This is Chromag93, and we're going to play some Warframe, obviously. Now this is the Excalibur Revisited update. Excalibur has recently gotten his powers revamped and some of his stats along with it. As you can see, I'm sporting the proto skin from Dark Sectors, that's it. Regardless, I'm getting off on a tangent here. Now, with the Excalibur update, they've shifted, for those that don't know, they've shifted Radial Javelin from being his ultimate to being his third ability in place of High Jump, and with that they've given him a new ability called Exalted Blade. Now, Exalted Blade is basically drawing an energy sword and going full on Ichigo Kurosaki on somebody. Basically every sword swipe you have with Exalted Blade fires off an energy wave that, along with the physical attacks you can have on enemies within range, those energy waves allow you to cut down enemies from a distance. Now granted, there's some travel time, but they travel relatively fast, and you can also track your targets a little bit if they're moving at a distance, regardless. His other abilities are the same, although Slash Dash utilizes the Exalted Blade in place of your normal weapon to use the ability. Anyhow, let's see if I can get into a crossfire match. There we go. Now then, I'll switch to the squad tab. So I can... God damn it. Keep having people join and then quit. Well, there, we've got one Excalibur there. You know, it's rare to see people use the proto armor and then stick another one of Excalibur's helmets. God damn! What the hell? And a Sarin, perfect. Never mind. Oh, come on. This is insane. We're not gonna make it far in this mission unless somebody joins in. Oh, great. Got a bombard already. Very rare that I can kill somebody with my sword alone. Come here, you. I could go straight into Exalted Blade right now, but I just want to go ahead and get the bonus. Not to mention the fact that, oh shit. Keep having people join in and leave. Jesus. Guy was trying to steal my kill. Excuse me? Want to try it again there, Buster Brown? Wow. I just made myself sound extremely old. Buster Brown. How long has it been since anybody's actually used that adage? And that's not even an adage. It's just a saying. Die, you manic bastard. Go back to the tube you crawled out of. There we go. Problem solved. At least this way I have a chance at going from 26 to 27 with my Prismascana. It's not that likely, I mean... There we go. And I recovered my health. Now then, let me see if I can make it to round 20 just using my Skana. And then I'll switch over to Exalted Blade. If I've got to do it sooner, oh well. Hellion that. I really have to get used to using Crimson Dervish. This is like the first time I've actually used it in practice. Like, I had a copy of it before, but I always prefer using Iron Phoenix because it was faster. It was the faster of the two sword stances that I had. And, so I ended up selling the copy of Crimson Dervish that I got off an alert reward. Because I didn't see the use in it. But that was before I found out that the, two of the combos have attack power multiplication on them. Now, I still haven't gotten used to using those combos yet, so I'm just doing standard attack power right now. But, drawing a blank.
Warning, heavy Grineer approaching.
When is there not heavy Grineer approaching Lotus? Honestly, sometimes I worry about Lotus's sanity. I mean, there's always those questions of whether or not she's actually evil, and honestly, I can see where they're coming from. Because from what I understand of the lore, from codex entries of Prime Warframes like Mag, Prime, or Ember Prime, we find out that the soldiers of the Orkin look down on the Tenno as monsters and lower beings, almost. They didn't trust them as far as they could throw them. And the Orkin scientists just used them as lab rats. They experimented on them, trying to test what all the powers that the void energy granted them could do. And in turn, yes, they created the Warframes for them, but even after the Warframes were created and they fought side by side to defeat the Sentients in the old war, the Warframes were still treated like less than second-class citizens, maybe even third-class. Basically, like I said, lab rats, animals. And so the Lotus led them in an uprising. And I also draw this inspiration for the Tenno uprising led by the Lotus from the Stalker entry. And this also goes into my theory about how the Stalker is a former Tenno, which would make sense because he uses his own Warframe and he uses Warframe abilities. But it is my understanding that the Stalker was a former Tenno that did not follow along in the Lotus's uprising against the Orkin. He stayed loyal to the Orkin, and after their downfall, he sought to take revenge whenever the Warframes struck out against, I mean, not Warframes, the Tenno struck out against other beings, hence why you are marked by the Stalker after you have a chance of being marked by the Stalker at the end of every assassination mission. He is taking revenge for lives taken, whether or not they were innocent. Ah, Exalted Blade, how I miss thee. I was joking with one of my buddies the other day that this made me kind of look like Decepticon, both the energy color and the color of the suit that I gave him. See, this is a perfect example. On my Prismascana, because I put Bright Purity on to increase the overall damage that it deals, Bright Purity carries over to Exalted Blade because it draws that mod from the Prismascana equipped. And the same can be said of Berserker. Every time I hit a critical with Exalted Blade, which has a 15% chance of hitting a critical, if I remember correctly, it speeds up by 30%, stacking all the way to 75% for every subsequent critical that is hit. And as you can see, with that stack speed, it gets to be pretty insane as far as the overall usage. I'd almost be interested to see if you could get some sort of augment mod later on for Exalted Blade that gave you maybe like 2 blades, or increase the number or size of waves that you fire whenever you swing your sword, or even has a stunning effect whenever the sword is used. Who knows? That's another thing I want to get into. Excalibur Revisited is just another example of how DE is revitalizing Warframe. Like, in the beginning, Warframe was really rough around the edges and hard to get into. Like, admittedly, whenever it first came out on the PS4, whenever I first got my PS4, like, 2 years ago? Is that when it first came out? Anyway, whenever I first got my PS4, I tried out Warframe because it was free, like it is now. So, and I didn't have PlayStation Plus back then, so I was just trying out whatever free games I could, and just whatever online games I could play with my brother and my friends online. And whenever I first tried out Warframe, it honestly sucked. Like I said, it was really rough around the edges, and it handled very stiffly. Even in comparison to now, like, yes, it's a lot more free-flowing than it used to be, but a lot of the movement is still on rails as far as the parkour system as it exists now. But, after probably a year of that, my brother had continued to play it all through that time. Actually, I think he abandoned it for a little while, but after 2 or 3 months or so, he gave it another shot, and by then, even then, it had improved loads. Like, it had gotten immensely better. And I finally gave it another try about a year ago. And lo and behold, it had gotten immensely better. I think I joined in right about when the Hydroid update came out for PS4. Yeah, I remember that because that was the update before the big UI update came to PS4, and it is hard to play and talk at the same time. Hard to think and play at the same time because you're concentrating on thinking about 2 things at once. Anyway, yeah, YouTubers make it seem a lot easier than it is. All the perils of trying to get into this business, I guess. Anyhow, it was the update right before the big UI update whenever Mirage came out, and you could actually walk around your Lisette and interact more freely with your arsenal and your foundry and whatnot. Back whenever I first started, and even a year ago whenever I first picked it up again, you could not walk around your Lisette like you can now. Your Warframe was just seated in the middle of a solar system map, and you would just go through a bunch of menu options deciding what you wanted to do. Like, go to your foundry in the market, in the menu, and buy different weapons and start building shit.